See, I've been noticing something very peculiar in the past 2.5 days. I was hoping that maybe you fine folks could help me solve this mystery. For some reason, every single one of the Lessethi from the surface of Orathia that I've been monitoring since the beginning of the tournament vanished without a trace shortly after your group entered the Lessethi base, and I haven't sensed any of them since. Now, why do you think such a thing might have happened? As Aiden is talking, I can feel a drop of sweat sliding down my neck. I don't know, Hadrick says obliviously. Maybe Meredith asked them all to teleport to their underground base or something. That was actually my first assumption as well. Eden says there could have been any number of reasons why Meredith would have wanted to call back all her troops on the surface, so I paid it no mind during the first 2 days. However, when I saw that none of them were showing up this morning either, I admit that began to feel a little strange, so I decided to do some flying around invisibly for a few hours to see if I could spot a Lessethi from above. And can you guess what I found? A Lessethi? Flower asks innocently. A Lessethi, Ian says. Exactly, Flower. But you see, the problem with this Lessethi was that I could only sense his aura from a very close distance. This made me a bit suspicious, so I analyzed the bracelet he was wearing under his sleeve to mask his presence from me. And what do you know? It has been upgraded to be 100 times more powerful than before. 100 times. You would happen to have any idea why they would have done such a thing, would you, Barry? Now, we can't even lie with this one because we don't have any control over aura. Listen, it was a mistake, I blurt out. I didn't know it was supposed to be a secret, so I let it slip to Meredith that you could sense her Lessethi troops from afar. Read my aura, I'm not lying. Indeed, you are not lying, Eden says. And as we all know, what is truly important is to acknowledge our mistakes, to learn from them, and to make sure that they won't happen again. Isn't that right, Barry? Yes, of course, I say. Perfect, Aiden says joyfully. So we are in agreement, and Diane must die. What? Kate shouts all of a sudden, while rest of us are just watching Aiden in stunned silence. Come on now, Kate, Aiden says. Surely you must have realized it by now. The fact that your friend Diane is Meredith's second in command means that in all likelihood most of the information that you have divulged to her is likely to reach Meredith's ears once your friend returns home. This means that whatever you may have told her about me in these past 2 days and a half will reach Meredith as well. I'm afraid I can't allow that to happen. There were other things that you told us about. There were other things that you told us about you that you don't want Meredith to know, I ask Aiden. I honestly don't have a clue, Aiden says while shrugging. The idea never came to me to tell you not to inform Meredith about my ability to sense Lessethi from afar, so thinking about it logically, there may well have been some other important details that you have found out about me during the many discussions you've had in the past few weeks. Since I can't be bothered to remember every single conversation I've had with you, and I'm very much doubtful that you can recall every discussion you had with Diane about me either, the simplest solution to my quandary is to remove Diane from the equation completely. Wouldn't you agree? Look, I'm not here on a mission to spy on anyone, Diane tells Aiden. I don't remember them telling me anything important about you, and even if they did, I won't tell Meredith. All I want is to spend some time with my friend on my way to the diplomatic meeting from Galmir. That's it. Quite the bold claim you're making, considering that you have been obscuring your aura this whole time, Aiden says. You know full well that there is no way for me to tell whether you're lying or not. Even if you are telling the truth, you could still easily change your mind once you return to the base of safety of your own base. You really are leaving me no other option here. Don't you dare touch Diane, you understand? Kate says as she steps in front of Diane and points her scepter at Aiden. Don't you dare. Kate, I think you understand just how much Barry's little blunder has set me back, Aiden says. Oh wow, this is an actual point. This might actually kill Diane. Holy shit. Aiden says now in a more serious tone. What I'm offering you here is extremely generous. Normally I would have just murdered your entire group and been done with it, but I did make that one promise to Barry to spare you in exchange for the message that he delivered to Meredith, which is why I'm making this compromise. Your friend Diane is the second in command of a powerful faction whose leader has openly declared that she wants me dead. She knew exactly what risk she was taking when she came to the surface and embarked on this journey with you. Do you really want to throw your life away by taking her side in this war? You know what, Hardrick says, goes in front of Diane as well. You can take your generous offer and shove it up your ass. You won't be doing anything to Diane while I'm still standing. I'm sorry, but I don't really see how you could stop me, Aiden says with a little puzzled expression on his face while still keeping his eyes closed. Calm down, Aiden, Darren says. You don't want to do something. Don't be doing something you'll regret. Aiden says, perhaps I've been a little too friendly with your group lately. You seem to be once again forgetting who you are dealing with. Allow me to give you a little reminder. We then feel a powerful invisible force pushing us down until we all pin to the ground except for Kate and Diane and the leopard. Darren groans. Aiden, knock it off. Do you hear me? Since Diane is such a good friend of yours, I will give you the chance to save her, Kate, Aiden says, while ignoring Darren. Just as he is done saying this, Diane suddenly begins to choke, gasping for air as she is being lifted into the air by Aiden's aura manipulation technique. If you can stop me by the time your friend runs out of air, I might consider not executing on her spot, Aiden says. Let's see how much you've really improved from your training. You monster, Kate says. She uses... Well, this is going to be a problematic thing, because if he does kill Diane, we might actually have to kill him at the end of this. Oh wow, the one decision fucked us a lot of things. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get back to this in the perfect playthrough. Yeah, the aunt thing didn't really work out, did it? Kate says she tries to use scepter, blah blah blah. Oh wait, no, I didn't read that. You monster, Kate says she uses her scepter to conjure a few very powerful icicles to send them directly towards Aiden at an explosive speed. Aiden, however, blocks them effortlessly with a semi-transparent barrier in front of him as he continues to choke Diane. Aiden, I'm warning you, Darren says, as we all still being pinned to the ground. In the meantime, Kate seems to have given up on targeting Aiden directly with icicles. She is now aiming them somewhere between Aiden and Diane instead in an attempt to interrupt his aura manipulation technique. Now you're not even trying, Aiden tells Kate, not realizing that what he is attempting to do. Can't you see that none of your icicles are hitting me anymore? As Diane finally loses her consciousness due to lack of air, Kate conjures a much more powerful ice cone than before, and this time she shoots it at just the right angle and speed to successfully interrupt Aiden's aura technique. This makes Diane fall to the ground while Kate quickly runs to her side in order to check if she's still breathing. She's alive, Kate says. She lets out a sigh of relief. She's still alive. How did you, Aiden says while looking at Kate, how exactly were you able to? I said knock it off, Darren shouts very loudly as he now raises his sword into the air, moves it to the right, thus removing the invisible force that was pinning us to the ground and allowing us to get back up again. You've learned to cancel aura manipulation techniques, Aiden says, as he now finally understands what was going on. So that's how you beat the royal captain of the Royal Guards in Olander. Marvelous, outstanding. It seems like I might have underestimated how much progress you've made in such a little time. With this kind of improvement, maybe I could even fight you at a quarter of my power. Wait, no, maybe that's still a little too much. 20%? No, that still would be too unfair. 10% maybe. You really like to hear yourself talk, don't you? Hardwick says with a grin as he instantly dashes in front of Aiden and tries to punch him, but only manages to make a hole in the ground as Aiden jumps out of the way easily. I see that you're eager to resume our duel from the beginning of the tournament, Aiden tells me. Shall I abstain from using magic again to make it more sporting? Sure, you can do whatever you want, Hardwick says, as he rushes toward Aiden again, tries to overwhelm his defenses with a series of quick punches. For the first 10 seconds or so, it looks like Aiden had the upper hand, dodging every single one of Hardwick's attacks effortlessly. However, after a relatively short amount of time, we could see the tide of battle shifting rapidly in Hardwick's favor, as he's now pushing Aiden back and forcing him in a much more defensive position. Eventually, Aiden is no longer able to avoid one of the punches, and he had no choice but to block it, while being thrown 10 feet backwards due to the impact. Hey now, whatever happened to not using magic? Hardwick asks Aiden with a wide grin on his face. Are you going to claim that this wasn't a magical barrier that you used to defend yourself a second ago? Aiden frowns at him, but he does not answer this question. That thing where you read my aura to predict my next move is impressive, Hardwick says, but unfortunately for you, Darren has been doing it to me for days now, and I already have a pretty good idea how to counter it. As long as I don't have a clear image in my head of where my next attack will be and rely on my instinct to do most of the work, the aura gets jumbled enough for you not to be able to get a good reading of it most of the time. In other words, you may as well just stop using the technique altogether because it's useless against me. Aiden, let's just stop this nonsense. Darren says as he's slowly approaching Aiden. You're not thinking straight. This isn't like you. It's not very polite to interrupt a duel, healer, Aiden says as he points towards Darren and he makes a gesture with his hand. Time for you to go to sleep. When he sees that Darren is completely unaffected by what he has done, Aiden does a flick of his finger 2 more times until he realizes what's going on. Oh, that's right, Aiden says. Barry already found out about your protection overload, so you finally fixed it, did you? Fixed a lot more than just my protection overload, Aiden. And if you want to see my improvement so badly, let me show you. Darren then begins to swing his sword at Aiden while using his more Noldoran like combat style, since he's been practicing for the past few days since he stopped wearing his armor. The two of them are fighting. I can hear Araka mumbling to herself like a crazy person from inside the amulet.